Morning, everyone. On behalf of the entire Durand School community, we would like to welcome you to our 50th anniversary celebration. We are going to begin our day just as we would any day here at Durand School, and that is with the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you can please rise, our Durand Safety Patrol, under the guidance of Mr. James Appleby, will get our celebration started.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great job, Durand Safety Patrol. Before we begin today, there are several key members of the Durand School community in our district that we want to recognize. Our superintendent, Mr. Alfonso Llano, who will be joining us later, along with one of our assistant superintendents, Dr. Danielle Sneeden. On the stage, we have our other assistant superintendent, Mr. Nathan Fry. If we can give him a big round of applause. We have some current board members that are either in the audience now or will be joining us throughout the day. Mr. Cedric Holmes, Mr. Dennis Rivera, Mr. Eugene Medio. We also have some former school board members that are also Durand School alumni, Mr. Scott English and Mrs. Makina Douglas. We have one former Durand principal in the audience that we want to make sure we recognize today. His picture is still up in that hallway, and also a former superintendent, Dr. Valentine. I sure hope they clap for me like that one day. We have a few other members, and this is I think I saved them for last on purpose because they did such an amazing job during their time here at Durand, and it is one of the most thankless jobs that is almost impossible to get anyone to do, and that is PTO president. So we have a few of them in the audience. Some of them are here now. I know Kirsten Ellison, if she's here, could please stand. She is going to be joining us today. We had a combination of president and vice president, and I'm not really sure who was in charge. I'm still not really sure who's in charge. Actually, we know who's in charge, Mrs. Williams. Mr. and Mrs. Williams, could please stand. And we have the very first Durand School PTO president in the office, Mrs. Peretti. Can she please stand? You know, without PTO, we would not have all of those events here at our school. It is almost surreal to think that on this very day, February 10th, 1973, 50 years ago to this exact date, the official ceremony took place right here in this room. And while a great deal has changed not only in education, as I'm sure most of you have realized, but also in the world around us, the one thing that has remained constant is that our school means so much to so many. Whether you are a former student, parent of a student, or staff member, my guess is Durand School holds many special memories for you. Our school is one that has always found ways to balance strong academic expectations and achievements while also preserving a sense of community and family. 20 years ago, I started here as a Durand fourth grade teacher. I had hair then, and the font definitely did not look like that on paper. Bergamo calls some of these gray hairs. I had taught in other states and districts, but I knew that Durand would be my home. What makes, Durand special? I knew it. The most important factor would be our staff. As we have had the opportunity over the last few weeks to go through artifacts and archives, it is very clear if you look in our library conference room, you will see that our staff has always gone above and beyond. As a matter of fact, that's evidence today. There are at least 30 staff members that took time out of their Saturday to be here. If all of our former and current staff would please rise. And we can recognize them for making Durand School such a very, very special place. I believe if everyone will stand, unless you started here in 1973, if you can remain standing, we actually have a few staff members that were here when the Not you, Megan, you weren't here in 1973. Thank you for lightening the mood, Megan. Megan Youngblood, one of our best second grade teachers, I promise. The staff members that are standing were here on this very same day. They were here in the fall of 1973. If we could give them one more big round of applause. As Mrs. Blakeman reminded me, she's been driving principals crazy for 50 years. She's retired and still drives me crazy. At this time, we're going to turn this portion of our program over to Ms. Brittany Tomlin, our assistant principal.
Thank you, Mr. Greco. Good morning, and thank you again to all of you for being here as we celebrate Duran's 50th birthday. I too have been fortunate enough to always call Durand School my home. I started here as a student teacher 19 years ago and taught 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, and now I am so very blessed and honored to be the assistant principal and to work with such amazing faculty, staff, students, and families. Yesterday, I spoke to our students about the importance of preserving memories. In our discussion, I emphasized that memories are beautiful flashbacks of a series of events that happened in the past that shape our identity, influence our behavior, and contribute to our overall well-being. As students, and for some of us also as educators, many of our most fond memories have taken place right here in Durand School. The memories created by the boys and girls and men and women who have walked our hallways are the true brick and mortar that hold and shape our Durand traditions, influence our styles and philosophies, and encourage us to think outside the box. They push us to always challenge ourselves and our students. Those memories and the people that have shaped them make Durand exactly what it is today. An inevitable part of life is that time waits for no one and that we all experience loss, requiring us to only rely on memories. I recently heard a song that stood out to me. It described losing someone as an event in life that happens twice. The second time being the last time that someone mentions their name or shares their memory. You see, as a school family, and that's exactly what we all are in this room, we have the responsibility to honor and keep the memories of those no longer with us alive through our conversations, connections, and collaborations. Our classrooms and hallways must always tell the stories of the past while providing our students with a memorable present and promising future. At this time, I ask you to please stand once more and join me in observing a moment of silence to honor the memory and legacy to those in our Dolphin family who are no longer here with us, but who we assure you continue to live in the memories that they left with us. Please stand. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that moment with us. At this time, it is my honor to welcome the Durand School Select Choir, directed by our music teacher, Miss Julia Rodkey. They will be singing our Durand School song.
wonderful job, Durand School Choir. Let's give them one more round of applause. Our school song was written by Mrs. Kimberly Kell and Patty Decker. Mrs. Kell, could you wave your hand? There she is. We thought that there would be no better way to fully understand how impactful our school has been over the past 5 decades than to hear directly from the source. We will conclude our program by asking 3 of our all-star alumni to share some of their experiences. That's pressure. We will begin our alumni spotlight with Mrs. Deborah Quinn. She was a member of the original group, of students that came here in the fall of 1973. It should be noted that her mother was also served as a staff member here at Duran. Debbie went on to a very successful career as a teacher, beginning her student teaching career right here in Duran, and later would move on to be one of the most well-regarded administrators in our district. Ladies and gentlemen, Mrs. Deborah Quinn.
All-star. I don't know that I've ever been called an all-star. That's pretty awesome. So good morning. As you heard, I'm Deborah Quinn. I'm a retired administrator and former educator in Vineland Public Schools. But more importantly, today I'm a proud alumni of Marie D. Durand School. I want to thank Mr. Greco and Ms. Tomlin for inviting me to speak today. I have a connection to Ms. Tomlin, by the way. I've known her since she was in high school. She was one of my Vineland High School cheerleaders when I coached there. And she was a remarkable young lady, remarkable student. I knew she'd be a leader someday. So it is a great joy that I have a chance to speak with you on the occasion of the school's 50th anniversary. On this special day, I'd like to commemorate Duran's humble beginnings. The beginnings where the school wasn't quite finished when we started here. I remember there was no carpeting on the well in the library. Duran has a history of being one of the best schools in overall development of students. And as you will hear, I have a deep connection to this institution. 50 years ago, I entered the doors at Duran as an 8-year-old third grader. It was 1973, and Duran was the brand new, state-of-the-art, open classrooms elementary school. How many of you remember those open classrooms? I see many of the teachers here, right? Open classroom. It's funny, I walked around today, I didn't see any of those open classrooms. What happened in those classrooms and halls here at Duran shaped me into the person I am today. Many of you may be familiar with the essay by Robert Fulham, All I Really Needed to Know I Learned in Kindergarten. Well, I'd like to expand that a little bit and say, all I really needed to know I learned in elementary school. As a student, I knew that the teachers were a dedicated team of experienced educators committed to providing a nurturing environment to foster learning. As a young child, I also knew that the staff valued our students, valued us as students, as individuals, and they celebrated our unique talents, encouraging us to reach our full potential. You see, I was a struggling third grader, probably on the verge of staying in third grade another year. But the principal, Mr. Horton, and my parents worked together to place me with a stellar third grade teacher who would meet my needs. Her name was Ann Shute, now Ann Valentine, as most of you know her. And I recall that school year vividly. You see, I didn't like school much till third grade. I can still picture Mrs. Shute's daily read-alouds of Charlotte's Web. I remember the day she brought her Great Dane to school so that we could read to him. At least I think it was a hymn. I can still see, those are the days when, those things started. I can still see the centers that she handmade that were located around the classroom as we moved around the carpet to learn each skill at each center. I remember small groups. I remember one-to-one learning where she taught me tips and tricks to overcome my perceptual problems and sometimes my attention deficit issue. Most importantly, I remember feeling like a successful student who started to enjoy reading. Albert Einstein said, "It is the supreme art of a teacher to awaken the joy in creative expression and knowledge." Thank you, Mrs. Valentine. Thank you, Mrs. Latour. Thank you, Mrs. Bonzel, Mrs. Harris, Miss Elaine Colovi, Mr. Terry Halter, for awakening my creative expression and building the foundation and for me to be a proficient reader and lifelong learner. My years here were filled with lots of activities that I can remember. We had lots of family involvement activities. Some of those activities included, we built a log cabin out back. It involved teachers, parents, and students. It was on the back of the property, it's no longer there. Hopefully we have pictures of that somewhere, Mr. Greco. I also remember the Durand School family fun nights that were held right here in this auditorium. Those were some of my absolute favorite events. But I also remember the PTO skating nights, right, Scott English? He'll tell you about I had my own skates and my own skirt, so he remembers that. I remember creating a giant dolphin out of paper mache that stood in the lobby on display. Sherry Patch, remember that? I remember band concerts and music lessons with Mr. Geraci, where I developed a love for music and playing musical instruments. The Nutcracker show that was held in the library in the well, where I was an Arabian dancer. Our gym classes, where we learned folk dancing and gymnastics. I recall our phys ed teacher, Mrs. Reichenbach, putting together a gymnastics show where I performed a floor exercise and a balance beam routine for my parents, or for a group of parents. I swore I was going to be the next Nadia Comaneci. For the younger ones, that was one of our superstars in this country, showing my age. I was a Durand School Dolphin cheerleader. Figure, it was way back. We used to cheer for our boys' basketball team right here after school. I learned to love sports on the playground out back. As a sixth grader, I was chosen to be a State Patrol member, and I remember learning leadership skills from our advisors, Mr. Halter and Ms. Harris. The trip we took to Washington, D.C. was one of my favorite experiences. I also remember our 1976 was the bicentennial, and we had a bicentennial carnival where I won hula hoop champion. I was very proud of that. I made lifelong friends here at Durand School. Several I'm still close with today. Scott English, Brian DeWinney, Monica Butler, Sherry Patch. This past November at our 40th high school reunion, yes, 40 years, we took a group picture of the Durand School kids. I looked around at those classmates that stood side by side with me for 50 years, and I thought how cool it was that most of those friendships were rooted here at Durand School. As I stated at the beginning of my speech, my connection to Durand School runs deep. My mom, Bernice Quinn, was an educator here for 26 years. Because of that, I knew many of the teachers, both personally and as a student. As a student, I wasn't sure if it was a positive or negative to have your mom in the school, because I knew that every teacher knew her and would report back to her on my day. But I will say it was convenient when I forgot my lunch money. My college roommate, Kim Kell. Kim's out there in the audience. She was the music teacher here for 33 years. And former principal Bill Maynard, who's not here today, gave me my first teaching job in 1989, where I worked side by side with Sherry Graham. Sherry's here today too. I learned so much from her and the teachers here at Durand School. It's been a memorable journey, meeting excellent faculty whose thought process will stay with me forever. A lot of what I'm doing today, I'm able to draw those parallels from what I learned right here at Durand. When I look at my career, realistically, I look back and thank Marie D. Durand School for giving me those learning opportunities that shaped me and my foundation. It's been a privilege to watch Mr. Greco lead this school, and I want to thank him for continuing Durand School's long tradition of being a family of educators to positively shape the lives of students, both academically and socially. Thank you.
All right, so our next alumni is Mr. Nathan Fry. He is our current Assistant Superintendent of Elementary Education and began his lifelong passion for learning right here at our school in 1976. You're younger than him. He often shares many of his amazing stories with me. Some of them, maybe you could tell the audience, they're not things that they would expect from you, Mr. Fry. Yeah. I'll share them with some of his former teachers that are out there today. Can we have a round of applause for Mr. Fry?
Thank you, Mr. Greco. I was hoping you would not go there, but you did. My time at Duran was and is absolutely amazing. When Mr. Greco asked me to say a few words this morning, I was honored and immediately flooded with many wonderful memories. I always felt encouraged to explore my interests and pursue my passions. I remember the many projects we worked on, and one in particular where two of my classmates and I spent hours in my parents' basement building a working model of a laser. Edmond Scientific with my best friend. We went there, we got laser pieces, we got lenses. We worked night after night. The opportunity to engage on hands-on experiments not only increased my curiosity about science, but it also supported that appreciation for science. The open classroom experience that was discussed was perfect for me. Duran provided me the academic foundation and taught me valuable life lessons. I remember the emphasis in those classrooms on collaboration and teamwork. Whether it was working on group projects, going on field trips with Mr. Bergamo, or Mr. Mazzi, the DC trip, Mr. Lumberg, playing football with Mr. Lumberg during recess and even after school, they were amazing, amazing times. That emphasis on collaboration and teamwork will stay with me forever. These experiences emphasize the importance of the collaboration and perseverance, the core skills that make us all successful. These experiences emphasized, ultimately, that Duran plays a pivotal role in what we do. It shaped my career, it shaped my choices for the future, and it shapes all of our futures. The critical thinking skills, the problem-solving skills, the scientific inquiry fostered at Duran were instrumental in my success in higher education in high school, as well as my professional life. In conclusion, Durand Elementary School is important not only for the cherished memories it gave me, but also the lasting impact it had on so many students, as you'll hear in a little bit. Duran will always be a special place in my heart. I'll always have a special place in my heart, and it is an honor to work with the staff and the students who continue such great tradition and excellence. Thank you very much.
All right, we will conclude our spotlight with Miss Marilyn Miguel, a 2019 graduate of Vineland High School. Marilyn is one of those students that an educator will never forget. Her story is one of commitment, dedication, and unrelenting passion to achieve her dreams. As a matter of fact, her story is so inspirational that we had her speak to our 4th and 5th grade students yesterday, along with another all-star alumni, about their trip and journey through Duran and beyond. I believe she is one of the only Vineland High School students I believe she is one of the first, and I think one in the last 26 years to be admitted to Harvard University. It's all because of what happened here at Duran. Marilyn is currently working in New York City for one of the largest law firms in the U.S. as the company's first pro bono paralegal. She is focusing on immigration law while also planning to continue her pursuit of her law degree. Can we please welcome one of our finalists?
Hello everyone. Unfortunately, unlike the rest of my presenters, I did not prepare a speech, so I will just speak candidly from the heart. I had the privilege of graduating Durand Elementary School in 2012 under the wing of Dan Greco. Can we all give him a round of applause? He has done an amazing, incredible job at leading this school, and truly, from yesterday, seeing the way that he still navigates with so much passion and encouragement, I truly believe that Duran will continue to be one of the greatest elementary schools in this country. Let's be honest here. There is so much passion, so much spirit in this small hometown, and it brings me such joy to see every single day. I carry that passion with me everywhere that I have gone. I have gone to Harvard University, studied sociology and economics, and I entered in with a desire and a passion to do the best that I can for the people in this country. So I decided whether to be an educator or to become a lawyer, and I instead decided to choose the law path. And that came fairly naturally to me because I believed that my passion, what I could bring to the table, was best brought on with pursuing like a law degree. And I think all of that stemmed from the opportunities and the lessons that I learned here in Durand Elementary School. I worked as an anti-trafficking coordinator in San Francisco. I networked briefly in Seattle for Microsoft and Apple. I worked as a legal assistant for helping families in domestic abuse situations, helping people with their unattained wages when they were unfairly denied in Massachusetts. And currently I'm now working in Manhattan. And all these dreams would not have been made possible if it weren't for the care and the love that my teachers have poured in to me as a student all these years. I truly believe that I am a testament to what greatness lies in the children of today here in Vineland, New Jersey. I believe that there aren't a lot of opportunities usually given to children of more rural communities, especially here in South Jersey, but they are brilliant. And for those educators, the staff members here that have poured their time and their attention to these students, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I truly hope that my story is something that you guys will be able to see reflected in each and every one of these students, because there is great potential in educators and in students alike. I remember my fondest memories from Durand Elementary School are, for example, pieing Mr. Greco in the face. I still think of that to this day. It is him going up to the stage and shaving his head just so students will attain a certain level of reading score. The teacher that I think about whenever people ask me who has inspired you is Miss Cynthia Doulis, who has seen the passion and the love that I had for art and nurtured that, just like a mother was. Duran was my second home. That's where I found my opportunities. That's where I felt at peace being, because I knew that I was surrounded with people that only desired the best for me. And I truly believe that most of these students feel the exact same way. Let's see. Sorry, that was just what I was going to say. And I see it now on the smiles of these wonderful children. And again, I just want to thank you all for coming together, and I hope that this speech brought you the positivity that I'm trying to radiate forth from the stage. Thank you.
Eyeing Mr. Greco in the face and shaving my hair and it never grew back. Those are her fondest memories. Just doing my part. Before we bring our official ceremony to a close, there are of course some groups and some people that we need to thank. Again, all of the volunteers, staff members, at least 30 of them that gave up their Saturday, if we could give them a round of applause. For our 50th celebration committee. Janine Camardo and Katie McManus, if they could wave their hands. Then we have the teachers that we just can't get rid of. We're calling them our alumni historians, Kim Kell and Linda Palladino. The Bordelati family, the San Blas Bakery, who donated our cake, thank you to them. Amy and Lindsay Collins, who have a cookie as sort of a departing gift for all of our families, thank you to them. Our balloon art was done by Caldwell Banker, Desiree Shepard, and Tracy Giordano. David Beltran is probably hiding somewhere. If we could give our head custodian, David Beltran. We again also want to thank all of you who attended today's event for sharing in the celebration of Duran. We encourage you to take a stroll down memory lane through the halls of your Duran. Please, all of our classrooms are open. You can visit your old classrooms. Some of them may not look the same. For those of you that are a little bit older, you don't have to turn the light switch on now. It will come on automatically. But the bathrooms still look the same, and there's still only 4 of them. In the back hallway in room 27, we have a 1970s artifact room. That really blew the mind of our students yesterday. Our library conference room. So if you visit our library, there'll be some staff to direct you in there. We have all of our former yearbooks, photo albums, pictures throughout the year. Debbie put some pressure on it. I think there is one from the bicentennial. I really wish we had one of you hula hooping. Our time capsule, which we unearthed, that was, for those of you that don't know, That was in the date marker in the front of the building, so we removed that this year. Thank you to Paul Farinaccio and his crew. So all the items that were in that time capsule are here on the table. The school was built in 1973 for $1.9 million. We just had a almost $5 million HVAC renovation, so that'll tell you how times have changed. We are going to load our time capsule with items from 2024 and make that a part of it moving forward. We have 50th anniversary shirts on sale in the library, so you can stop in there. Again, refreshments courtesy of Sodexo, our food district service provider. Again, cookies, and there will be cake on the back table. I think that's everything. So again, please feel free to stay. As I won't say as long as you want, because I know some of these former teachers will stay forever. You know who you are. You can tell by some of their parking jobs out front, they park the same way they did when they were here. Again, thank you to everyone for coming, and in the amazing words of our assistant principal, once a dolphin, always a dolphin. Thank you very much. Thank you to our alumni speakers, all of our special guests. Thank you very much.